you had the New York governor, Kathy Hochul, this week ending New York's state of emergency for COVID. And I mentioned Texas has been under the state of emergency now for 30 months. I know that this was something you talked about. A lot of primary challengers talked about during the primary campaign against Governor Greg Abbott. But, you know, even now we're continuing to see this be an issue. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, it's another sign of big government and bureaucracy at work, right? Kathy Hochul, who, by the way, I remind everybody is an unelected governor.
Mm-hmm.
She, filled in after Cuomo was evicted from the mansion there in Albany. She's got to do whatever she can to try to get elected. And a lot of that means trying to make New York look free. It's not, but she's got to make it look that way. And so I think that's some of the motivation in lifting that emergency declaration. Now, here in Texas, Greg Abbott, unfortunately, because we're kind of unaware of what's going on, and he has a big R by his name, and we call him a Republican. He gets a lot of freedom and a lot of leeway to get away with things that he really should be held accountable for. Now, he could use the excuse of saying, well, there's an open border problem and we need to keep this in place in case we need to, shut things down again for an emergency situation with, an outbreak of something else because of this open border. But at the end of the day, Brandon, this is big government at work. This is bureaucracy at work. This is more trampling on people's rights. This is the status quo now in Texas, and you just see that whenever big government in the place, in this place, it's embodied by Greg Abbott and his administration as governor of Texas. When you give them power, you give them authority, they just don't give it back. And this is a perfect example of that. And we've got to shout this from the rooftops. It's time to remove this declaration in the state of Texas.